Welcome, my friend, to Next Level Change Success. I'm Therese Perez, a change strategist and practitioner with over 20 years of experience designing and delivering impactful change programs across various industries. In this podcast, I share real-world practical strategies to help you create and deliver positive change experiences, whether you're a leader, practitioner, or someone looking to bring new ways of working to life. In today's fast-paced world, change is constant. Here we focus on how you can put people at the centre of your change strategy, because people with a sense of purpose are the most important link in driving performance. So if you're ready to create meaningful change and achieve all the success that comes with it, keep listening. Together, let's change the conversation and take it to the next level. Welcome to another episode of Next Level Change Success. My name is Therese Perez and I'm the founder of myvirtualchangemanager.com. Before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge that I am recording on Tharawal country and pay my respects to the traditional owners and custodians on the land on which I am recording. Well, today we are talking about people and performance, and actually we're going to unpack a little bit about the levels of understanding and awareness in organizations around cause and effect, and the fact that many people are not looking at change in the right way, nor are they looking to make changes from a program perspective in a way that's really efficient, in a way that's really productive in organizations. And some of this might be related to the concept of not understanding the people impact, and also around the lack of connected thinking in organizations. So a few different areas that we're going to unpack today, and I hope you can hang in there with me, because these are really relevant conversations in 2025. I have no doubt they're going to be relevant in the future. But as we go through this journey of unpacking and raising our awareness in organizations around true cause and effect, then there will be more of a shared understanding regarding the power of people and the unlocking of capability and potential in the people landscape, which then leads to ultimately better performance. And what happens in organizations is that at the moment there's a lot of indicators when it comes to performance. Organizations might be struggling a little bit to achieve the level of performance that they would like. And as a result of this, they look at how they can look at systems, how they can look at processes for efficiency, or essentially also just in a very, at times, cutthroat approach of looking at cutting the workforce to decrease operational costs. But that's a short-term measure. It doesn't achieve long-term potential, that's for sure. And organizations that are more intelligent, change intelligent, and understand the wisdom that can sit in their workforce, but also the potential that sits within their workforce. Organizations that understand that are really going to excel when they focus on their people aspects. What can happen though is that within their ecosystem, they can struggle in the areas such as people and culture to really get traction that they are looking for, because they need to really ensure that the people who are in those leadership roles are progressive thinkers and are people who can unlock the people aspects with full buy-in from their leadership team. So not see it as an outsourced capability as such, or an outsourced problem across into their HR or people and culture area, but in fact understand that every single leader in the organization is responsible for recruitment decisions, responsible for their own workforce planning, for their own teaming, and therefore the unlocking of potential within their people ecosystem across the organization. Now, what happens when you're starting to unlock the potential is that you're going to stabilize. You can build a very strong foundation. You might identify capability gaps, and as a good leader or a very strong change leader, you're going to understand that the better the people, the better the people who are working with you, for you, work together in a teaming way, in a psychologically safe way, not just within your team, but also across other teams in an organization, you will start to unlock a different level of performance. Now, we've seen this, and if I draw the analogy to the Michael Jordans of this world, so it might show a bit of my generational aspect, but the story often told around, and by Michael Jordan himself, was around the potential that the Chicago Bulls had at the time, but he could not win a championship because his focus was on himself. And that shifted gear under Phil Jackson as a result of teaming and understanding that everyone plays a role in the team. And sure, there might be conflict, and sure, there may be big egos involved, but under good coaching, under good leadership, under good guidance in an organization as well, in an organizational context, you will unlock potential through teaming. Not everyone needs to get along. Not everyone needs to really understand each other, but everyone needs to understand their role and understand and respect each other within that ecosystem for true teaming to take place and for achievements to be shared. Definitely when it comes to teams and when it comes even to individuals, even if people are passively collecting a paycheck at this point in time, which can happen in organizations, it's about how leaders can engage, how leaders can inspire and motivate their people and lead them through the change from stability to performing. And there's different tactics obviously around that. The people aspects, identifying capability gaps, recruiting for those capability gaps, all of that has to do with considering the landscape and vision that you have for the organization and for the team. That is so critical for any leader to set that clearly and explicitly for the team. Have a strategy in play. It's amazing how many organizations or even teams don't have a strategy. And if you're waiting for a strategy to be developed at a higher level, I would say that you're missing the ability or missing the trick where you can, in fact, even if you're heading up a team, have a strategy that links into the broader organizational purpose. Develop it for yourself. If you're sitting there, it's a bit of this chicken and egg, and I see this often where we'll wait for the bigger strategy for us to create ours. Well, the reality is sometimes that bigger strategy never takes form. So important that you plug that gap as a leader, even if you're sitting in middle management, and definitely define the roadmap for your team from a 1 to 3 year time frame. Discuss and consider the culture, co-design that with your team so that everyone has the buy-in. And that sense of purpose and direction in and of itself unlocks a level of potential within your team. And then identifying the capabilities and also the culture that you want to create to achieve that strategy is also important. And I talk about it being explicit. Absolutely. Do not think that people just get it or that people understand because the organization has a purpose, that they understand where they fit in. Sometimes that may not be the case. And doing exercises with your team or with your program team, even within divisions, to talk about how everyone contributes to your customer outcomes, your internal customer outcomes, is really important. Understanding the grey areas that people might be struggling in to understand, or even the areas of tension and where those blockages are from a cross-organizational perspective or even with external suppliers. These are the things that you can focus on, develop a plan around how to improve these things in a continuous improvement fashion and inspired fashion, and then really lift the performance of, once again, as I said, your team, your program, or even your organization in that landscape. These are the tangible actions you can take as a leader, even as a program manager, program director, EPMO director, whatever that may look like for you, change director. This is just about your team understanding the roadmap and linking into that what uplift or what achievements, and that helps you for this whole new year that we've just entered into to be able to track your performance. And what you measure is what you focus on, being able to link that into KPIs or goal setting, if that's a structure you have within your organization, These are the things that are going to help align your team with a sense of purpose and be able to also help you celebrate achievement as you progress through this year. Now, a lot of this has to do with planning. It has to do with a clear blueprint and roadmap, and then also the capabilities or the skills that your team members need to bring, or that you might need to recruit to, or how you might need to resource to be able to achieve those outcomes, or rescope them if it's not achievable. Because within this environment, you do know and find that people can struggle. There's not the same economic investment in certain areas that there used to be across the world at the moment with a lot of the economic pressures. But this is about how you become creative. And people can learn from each other across organisations. Good development plans can help individuals really excel in their role. Buddying, mentoring, re-onboarding people. Sometimes this can happen in organisations. People need to reset, be almost re-inducted into organisations to achieve what they had really intended to achieve in the first place. So a few things to consider this year around really looking at your people aspects to achieve the performance that you would like. But I also want to talk about this cause and effect and the value of connected thinking to improve the understanding around cause and effect, because so many times when a problem arises, there are two key things that people really leap to. One is solution, far too fast. Solution without collaboration, or solution without all of the right information at hand. Not being customer-centric enough in your solution design as well, which can mean that you're going to implement a solution to which it doesn't actually address the root cause of the problem. And that a little bit links into sitting with the problem long enough. And this can happen between the concept of people and performance. If you're struggling in achieving your performance indicators, there's a number of things that actually might be showing up for you. One is that you might have the wrong indicators in place. That can actually happen, that you're measuring the wrong things. The other thing is that you may not be looking really at the people aspects of contributing to poor performance. What is the typical response a little bit is around leadership, and to look at leadership, but also within your functions. If you've thematically had feedback over the last couple of years in relation to structure issues, in relation to processes, in relation to technology constraints, and the difficulty of simple processes being made far too hard for individuals, high staff turnover, these type of indicators are showing that there's an issue more so around the focus, strategic focus of the organisation. Is it really clear? Is it in the right areas? Ensuring that there is adequate investment into the right areas to solve some of those problems for people. Really unpacking your talent program, discussing with your individuals who show high potential around their thoughts. How easy is it to unlock the potential and the ideas within the workforce in your organisation? Oftentimes the people within the organisation actually know the solution, but you might find that your levels of leadership are just constraining and choking that inspiration that your individuals have. And there's a number of things that you could do to actually unlock that. Once again, really unlocking the potential of people to achieve better performance. So that is around an ideas framework, having a virtual suggestions box where people can put in ideas, talk about the costs of ideas. You can have an investment fund within your organisation to actually fund and reward people for good ideas that actually may be better than those who might be sitting in leadership and too far from the front line, but who are the decision makers who might be constraining or dismissing very valid ideas. So sometimes it may be good to have a bit of an incubator going on around ideas where people could explore them from an independent perspective to actually say, these are the ones that should feed into your program of work going forward because they actually are legitimate, have good benefits, but may never have seen the light of day if it is needing to go through a bureaucratic process or needs to go through many management levels to get the ear of an executive. So these are the things that you can actually put into play to unlock the people potential and in a pragmatic way. And obviously the change aspect in an organization, or how your change ecosystem is working, is really, again, important for you to consider around, is this year going to be the year that you're going to change your ecosystem to become healthier, invest in the ecosystem so that you can achieve that concept of agility. Because it's not something that happens through whim. It doesn't even happen if you're looking to bring an agile framework into an organization. It happens from a culture perspective. It happens because it's explicit. It's an explicit commitment, and it's well defined around agility. I remember many years ago, I worked in an organization that talked about agility, yet they had no definition of what that meant. And it was termed it was a term in the strategy which was to be explored. Probably one of, if I was to be very critical, probably one of the most ridiculous things I'd seen, that it was something that was not defined, something that was intended, something that was expressed yet not defined, for people to understand what that goal looked like. So when looking at cause and effect, the 5 whys continue to unpack, but why? Human-centered design as well has some really great principles around observing behavior, more so than really going into a diagnostic from a process perspective. When observing behavior in an organization, you are always going to see the root cause if you have the right people doing that observation. Those who don't have a bias, which is a time where consultants and consulting agencies can be very powerful because they're very independent. If you get a good quality of consulting agency in this space, they can diagnose the issues far better than a team within your organization. So sometimes a bit of independence really does help in this space to identify root cause of an issue, and then also how to design the actual solution is one that then starts to become an in-house discussion around commitment and around from a change perspective. And then, of course, if there's a culture diagnostic which has alerted you to an issue around the culture of the organization, then there absolutely needs to be an overt commitment to, from top down, around 1 or 2 key behaviours for the entire year that you're expecting that if those behaviours are put into place, that you will achieve better outcomes. That change in culture program needs to be signed up to, of course, across the organisation. For those who don't have value alignment to that, or a cultural alignment to the direction of the organisation, it's also important to allow turnover to happen in the right places to get better performance. These are all decisions that sit at a senior level of an organisation, but the front and middle management are the ones who actually have the power to have the change happen and to engage in the change for an organisation to transform under a framework that they can believe in, that they can live up to and perform to as well. So these are just a whole range of things to consider this year. I know it's a higher order conversation. I know it can seem a little bit overwhelming, but if you are working on a transformation program this year, if you are looking to really start to link people and performance, have a look at your indicators, review them, have a look at your cultural indicators, review them this year, and know that if you start to put the work in now, this year is the year that you can start to see true change come through for your organisation, for your people, which will result in better performance. It's not easy, but it's definitely worth it. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I hope you have a wonderful year this year. It's January. We're putting all these episodes out. I'm certainly having a lot of fun. Come to myvirtualchangemanager.com. We have resources. We obviously have this podcast. And we've also got a webinar series happening this year, from change intelligence to change wisdom. Come along. We have multiple themes. Jump onto the website to see what topics are coming up. Register. We'll keep you informed of when the webinars are taking place. And I hope that you have a great day. Hi, it's Therese here again. I just wanted to mention that we have the Change Intelligence webinar series happening this year, and you don't want to miss out on any of the topics that we're going to cover. It's a live webinar series talking about change resilience, change frameworks, connected thinking, how you can change your mindset and the mindset of others, behavioural change and what that can offer. If you don't want to miss out, then come to myvirtualchangemanager.com. Just simply register and we'll let you know when the next webinars are happening so that you can come along. Spaces are limited, so be sure to jump across and register as soon as you can, and you'll see some of the topics that we're going to cover. I hope to see you there and to continue to work with you to create positive change experiences.